Yes.
I have not been keeping it up that much.
I've just
I'm
been
gonna follow the
local
brackets like I
teams.
normally do. Yeah, we got
Yeah.
Pitt, Penn State, and you said West Virginia.
Yeah. All in 3 different conferences, just for those.
But they could be in the same
bracket.
bracket. They could be in the same bracket.
They could
Their
be.
division has
This
nothing
is-
to do with.
This is where if the people
their conference.
making the brackets, like you know how we always complain that like Pitt doesn't play Penn State in football,
Yeah.
or like West Virginia in football doesn't play the local teams. Like that's all sort of decided by like the conferences and things like that. In the March Madness basketball tournament, like basically the schedule makers have free reign to do whatever they want, as long as it like fits somewhat, you know, with like overall national rankings. So
Wait, you're saying so they just kind of like sprinkle the teams out what they think the good matchups will
yeah,
be?
they had the 4 number ones, and I think that's the most important thing. It's like Houston, Purdue, Alabama, and
I always thought that there
the
was like
fourth
a method to the madness, like one
little-
plays last.
Well, yeah. Oh,
two
that
plays
all
next to
happened.
last.
So
Like,
they
the
have to
whole way
seed
down
it.
the
They have
middle,
to
I
seed
thought.
everybody.
Yeah.
There's 1 through 16, and then there's 4 different like regions.
Which-
Yeah.
and that's-
Oh, but
So-
they just move their seeds.
Yes,
Like,
that's what I'm saying.
I
So
didn't
like
realize
within the
that.
bracket, you can move things around. So there's no reason why like West Virginia, Penn State, and Pitt couldn't also all be in the same region. And then like let's say, like so they're saying Pitt's probably going to be anywhere between like a 9 and 11 seed. I could see Penn State sneaking in, and there could be like an 8-9. Like Penn State could be an 8 if they go deep into the Big Ten right now, which we won't know until at least tomorrow.
Yeah.
Big win tonight.
Big win tonight. They beat Illinois.
Illinois.
Yeah. So if they actually get somewhere in the Big Ten, then I could see them being an 8 seed. And then they could play Pitt as an 8-9. So that's a possibility. West Virginia's harder to predict. They're in the Big 12. They lost their game today, but they beat Pitt like pretty bad in the beginning of the season. So that'd be kind of cool to see a rematch of that, to say like, okay, like West Virginia killed Pitt.
would be the game.
Yeah, that would be the game.
We were in middle school, I think, back
That
when
would
that
be
was
The backyard brawl
real.
games.
Yeah,
were
yeah.
like always.
Julius Page.
Especially, he was on the radio today talking
way.
about the game.
Okay,
yeah,
good for him,
yeah,
good for
yeah.
him.
And he was good.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was-
yeah.
and
He was the number one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but he had that dunk. Do you remember the dunk he had?
Yeah, because
yeah.
he's a little guy. He's not little. I mean, he's not.
Well, I mean, he's a basketball player,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, relatively smaller, I guess.
He's a point
But
guard.
Yeah, I think.
I
Or
thought
was he a
so.
forward?
Remember with Siobhan Troutman, my half brother,
We were trying to name the team from that Pitt run.
Brandon Knight.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Pitt ever made it to the Final Four. They made it to the Elite Eight a couple of times, I
I don't
think.
remember any Final Four.
But that was it. Yeah, I was waiting for you to pass this over to me. But
I don't remember any Final Four.
no, I don't remember a Final Four either. So that's a problem with Pitt basketball because they had such a good program. So.
Do any of these teams have a future NBA star?
Probably.
Maybe a first or second round pick.
Yeah.
Well, Penn State has a guy who's going to the NBA.
Okay.
Going,
For sure.
I'm
But not a
talking like
star.
they might be
I don't think-
starting.
yeah, I don't
in
think
the
so.
So
next
the
Next
problem
star.
with college basketball, and I think we've talked about this on the show before, it's like the one and done rules. I think we've talked about that.
If
like,
you're good enough, why are you staying in college and
Right.
not just going straight to the NBA? and
right,
making
you have to
money?
play 1 year in college basketball. Like that's the current rule.
Yeah.
You know, which
The
I've always
LeBron rule.
argued to say
the LeBron rule.
LeBron
LeBron didn't
yes,
do it.
Right.
LeBron didn't do it,
Yes.
but advocated for it.
Yes, yeah. I mean, personally, I think. I mean, 4 would be a lot at this point, but you could go up 1, 2 years.
Does baseball require any years?
No, baseball's all weird because of
You
the
can
minor
just go
league.
straight
You have
to
the
the
minor
minors,
league
yeah.
system,
But
so
they
you
have
could-
that. The NBA has a minor league.
Yeah, they have the G League, you know, but it's just because college basketball is such a thing. It's kind of like football. Like there isn't a real prevalent like lower league. We're trying to do the XFL right now, but
Yeah, I don't have much on
Um,
that.
I sort of have a take on the XFL. Like I wish if they could do it right, they should just play more preseason games. Like the NFL should try to like partner with another league, and they should play like 6 to 8 preseason games and have like baseball does this with the Grapefruit League. Like you play a whole basic mini season before it starts. And I know we're all going to cry about injuries and everything, but if you can if you could bring in a whole other group to kind of like sponsor that and make it more of a thing. I love watching the preseason games because it's a bunch of all-stars from the college basically trying to make a team. Like it's like these guys are playing for real. There ain't no, it's not preseason.
I like it as far as I kind of miss the old extreme contact NFL. Now, when the
Yeah.
XFL made I think it's second chance when we were in high school,
third
early
chance
college,
or fourth
yeah,
chance
something
or
like that. But the
whatever,
whole
yeah.
idea was they were intermixing wrestling stories
Yeah.
with the football game. Right now, it just looks like they're going hard hitting football, and I think there's an appetite. Not only do people like spring football, But they kind of miss the way the NFL is going right now.
Yeah.
Is that
It's like- it's a
Aren't
candy-
those-
you
it's a
got
candy
jacked up?
league. Yeah.
You got jacked up was an ESPN like.
Well, the money's bigger, and I think that's what
Well,
changed it all. is
aren't-
because
aren't-
if somebody gets injured, like we're talking big money now. You
Yeah.
know? So it's
200 million,
what-
yeah.
The option you're talking about though is the XFL, right?
Well, so the XFL plays right after the Super Bowl.
Right now.
Yeah, but those
spring
are, so
football.
those are like your. Those are all like the second tier guys
Yes.
that
Yeah.
are pretty much on the
No,
preseason.
and
level.
I
Rugby
like
players.
I like watching it for
I
that
like
reason because these guys are playing for something.
Yeah.
You know,
To
that's
me,
not-
competitive sports is competitive sports. I like to bet on
Yeah.
football if I can watch two teams go. If they're
no, my problem is more of a scheduling problem. They shouldn't be playing football right now. Like this, like we're used to a season change.
no,
in
but that no,
sports.
what they're
So-
trying to pick up on is when football ends in February. Like someone like me, I'm a baseball
Yeah,
guy.
there's hockey and basketball
Hockey,
going on
basketball.
right
There's just
now.
I
Yeah,
like
so
basketball a little
that's-
bit. I mean, I grew up in a hockey town when the Penguins were. They always
Yeah, but
were
I would
success-
say like I count myself maybe a little bit higher than an average sports fan, but like if I'm going from sport to sport, like March Madness now consumes basically
so-
February and March for me.
and
you
it's
know,
kind of
so-
like this is where the XFL is encroaching on other sports.
like I'm
more.
not gonna throw an XFL game in the diner. I threw the Pitt and the West Virginia games on today.
We take what we can get
because-
Wi-Fi for.
Yeah, well that too.
It's-
But like nobody like who like are you guys following the XFL? I mean, no one's following it. You know, I mean,
Just-
it's
No, I
just
don't
we
follow
went
it.
through fits 18 weeks of football. Like we're ready for a break. Like played in the summer when we're all hungry for it.
My-
like right in August,
my
we're all
thing with
like
it-
we want football.
my thing with it's tough to find. It's not like when the NFL's on, it's 2, 7, 11.
They're on the networks now. That was a big change. So I'm pretty sure. I
So-
know.
Uh,
At least some of the games are, on a major network.
Yeah, that's a
So,
good point.
that
Why
was
doesn't the
something they need- that was
XFL
something
just start playing during spring training?
Well, that's
That's what they're
we're
gunning
saying.
for.
Well,
right
because
now.
all their
Well-
players though are trying to get on those squads.
The
So they-
USFL
their talent would be.
Well, that's the
worse.
thing. They're like technically on a separate
Well,
team.
what I
but-
want,
Can those players go try to make? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
the
Like
NFL
a
teams?
practice squad? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
So then, but
they're
that's
trying
where,
to get they're trying to get film on themselves.
so,
It's
but that's
really
why
what it
the
comes down
XFL is
to,
gonna
so.
let them, or they're not gonna play during the preseason.
Well,
that's
yeah,
your
no,
issue
that-
right
but
there.
that's what I'm saying.
there's no point
like-
of running.
They'd
up
have to
against-
pay enough money to keep
Yeah.
them from going and
Right.
chasing that.
But what I'm saying is,
NFL
if the
dream.
NFL was smart, they would accept a second league and work with them and make that part of their preseason.
The
you know,
XFL
so-
should just go get the Saudis money.
What I like, well, no, historically,
Can't argue with that.
historically with the XFL or the USFL is it's a place to test new rules. Like kind of what's
all
going on.
under
with-
leagues kind of are.
yeah,
but,
and a lot of stuff. The challenging that
Yeah.
came from
that came from
USFL. There were 3 or 4.
Donald Trump's league.
Yeah, with the Donald's Generals. You had a whole. We're doing that right now with baseball. Baseball. I wasn't planning on opening
Wow.
with this, but
Yeah, all
It's
the other
interesting-
sports basically had a system like this, except for the NFL. you
yes,
know, so.
some type of minor league
We
system.
did. We got
or-
way off topic. We were talking about March Madness, but we ended up delving off into sports random topics.
I think it's
but-
all relevant right now.
Yeah.
It is because like we're talking about like the schedule. Like what are people going to most likely pay attention to? And actually, I think politics gets a little bumped around this time. Because this is when the primaries happen. Like, this is when the ballots are being formed right now. So it's like
It's supposed to. We don't.
it's
have a
after
rule
the
book yet.
Super Bowl. Everyone kind of has
So
a little
then,
more
are you
attention
a-
to give. And
Are you alleging the network, AT&T's network, not paying the mortgages?
we
Yeah,
were talking
what-
about
as
this too.
what do we
maybe
It's
like political
Well, do
strategy?
we want to wrap up any other March Madness talk? I mean,
I was going to wrap that up with a discussion on you can't watch the Pirates this year
Yes.
on Channel
Oh, okay.
29
yeah.
because of the AT&T Fox Sports.
I know a little bit about this, and I'm sure there's people like listening that know a lot more. But basically, yeah, like the local sports league didn't make a full debt payment to the mothership, to the overarching sports broadcaster. And like we were talking about this before the show, like there's like rights that get tied to every sporting event, and you have to own those rights. Like you can buy MLB TV, but then you get blacked out in the local market because it's for this local like sports share thing going on. So I mean, the whole summary is basically because they didn't make that payment, it opens up like the MLB and like the local team basically needing to broadcast their games locally. And like they can make money off of this. Like it's kind of being looked at as a good thing because like the Pirates could sell local advertising and then that money stays here. It doesn't get like shared with the like a national kind of thing, you know. Like everybody argues about like the NFL revenue sharing. Like this would be kind of a way to say like, okay, we have a local market for this. Like New York doesn't care about Pirates baseball, so why are we giving them any of our like advertising money? Let's just keep it all here, you know. And the fun fact is like a lot of these like people that announce the games, they're Pirates employees or Penguins employees anyways. Like they're on their payroll. It's not like these big like broadcasters paying these people to do it. It's like, no, these are local guys paid for by the club to like basically kind of run propaganda for them to say like the Pirates are awesome or the Penguins are awesome and these are all the good things and we'll do analysis, but like we're really cheerleaders, you know. So that's already happening. Like why not just fully embrace it? And it opens up like a streaming option like we were talking earlier. So like right now you have to pay, what would you have to, it's like $200 a month if you want cable.
Yeah.
And it's like, so that's really the only way
And
you
right now,
get
cable, you might not
AT&T.
get it.
Yeah, well, that's if you
That's the
because they'll
confusion right
break
now.
it here, and like YouTube TV has rights to do AT&T locally, which has all the Penguins and the Pirates games on them, but it's just gonna turn into a whole mess. But I think it might work out better for the local teams in the long run.
I guess more where I was trying to lead that question to was, I think we're about to just get, if you want to watch a sports league, you pay a particular streaming service,
Yes, yeah.
whether it be Netflix, Amazon, Hulu,
Yeah.
Apple.
YouTube already does this, like part of their
For
package.
football, to get Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
That's already a thing. Hockey kind of did this with
Yeah.
FanDuel, where they offered a promotion where you get 3 free months. It's like, this is already becoming a thing. And most people that want to watch a sport, they don't just want to watch their team play. If you're a hockey
Yeah,
fan, if
you
you're
wanna
baseball,
watch-
if you're NBA, not only do you watch your team, but if your team's playing a crappy team and your rival
Yeah.
has a primetime game,
And that- and
you're
that
watching
was-
your rival because that's more important to the standings
Yeah.
in a game that you're pretty sure you're going to win. For a gambler, if you're just a gambler to a sport, I don't know what team I'm rooting for tonight. It depends what recommendation I get throughout the day. There's not a...
That's what's opening all this up, by the way. It's the gambling. Like, because it became legal in so many sports, now everyone's kind of like, oh, this is worth something now. You know, like
and you have that. And you have that in conjunction with Disney owning ESPN.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
Disney is trying to take like a moral. Well, we can't promote gambling.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you're going to run a sports company,
right. It's capitalism at its
this is
best.
the news
if
that
you
the
think of
people
it like
want.
that.
You have to cover that. That's what I wanted.
It's a shake-up. It's a shake-up in the market. Is basically what it is.
What I wanted to get your comments on is the specific rule changes in baseball.
We talked about that last time, didn't we?
It would be not. Normally, I know that, Alec. I was not able to listen to the second half of the episode because it's not published yet.
No, we did. We talked about the shift. We talked about
Ghost Runners.
We talked about Ghost Runners.
we went-
I think we ended last show
With
talking
that,
about
okay,
this.
that makes sense because that was the
Craig,
end of.
maybe recollection of this.
I don't.
I think
We're
you're right.
all-
I've had this conversation. I've had this conversation with so many different people. I like the rule changes. I think they're better. I think shortening the game.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I'm not totally in favor of all of
No,
them. but
no, and you're also someone that a couple years ago would have been anti-instant replay.
Still am.
What if
In
they just had a
baseball.
challenge flag? The issue is, I had the complaint raised to me.
I
that-
think that's a good idea.
In
You send
baseball?
them out like a pirate.
The pro-
He has to wave the flag.
Well, that was the
in front of the
original-
dugout.
no. A lot of people's problem with the baseball rule changes is okay. They introduce challenges similar to the NFL. You get one challenge per game. You get it right. You get to keep it. You lose. You use it. You lose it. It's over. There's no like in football when someone challenges, a coach throws a bright red flag. The official walks out to the center of the field with a microphone and announces what's going on.
We're gonna get into challenges right now. Okay.
In baseball, they don't have any.
Yeah,
You just
well-
kind of sit and wait. If you're watching the game on TV, the commentators clear it
I
up.
don't think that's completely accurate. I think the baseball, at least how the rules were last year, they still have like a challenge they can use. I believe it doesn't all have to be like a quote unquote booth review.
Yeah, sometimes
No.
Sometimes the umpire or the coach comes out of the dugouts just to
definitely-
review. They don't even
Yeah.
fight.
They definitely have each. What I'm saying is each team has a challenge, but they just do it like there's no throwing of a flag.
Yeah.
Oh,
And-
okay.
and the
so
ref-
you want to give them a flag?
No,
Is that
I'm
what
just
it
saying the people in the stadium need to be updated about whether a
Oh.
play is being challenged.
Yeah.
A lot of the times you're a
Yeah.
fan. This is what I haven't been to a game since.
Don't
the
they
pandemic
announce
hit.
it?
No,
They do.
In,
Sometimes
in
they do.
football, the referee comes out and announces there's a challenge on the field.
But the announcer announces
Pittsburgh
it.
is challenging the.
The announcer also
I think
announces
it's
If you're
baseball,
watching it on
yeah.
TV, if
I'm
you're-
pretty sure the announcers.
the announcers always do, but that's on TV. I'm talking if you're a fan in person at
We
the
know what
stadium.
you're talking about. We still think
Yeah.
it happens. There.
You can't hear the announcers.
I think they start playing the replay on the
No, I know,
jumbotron too.
but
I think it's
there's
like
still
probably
a PA
like
announcer,
yeah.
but like announces who's up to bat and all that. Like they would.
And the
say
umpires
something
are
like,
obviously off to the side too.
I don't know. I went to one baseball game last year, so I can't remember if there was a challenge or not. But we can flush that
just
out
relaying
as
was
we go.
extended to me. If we discuss the rules from the
But-
last one, we don't need to beat the dead.
No, we don't. Have
The
to.
challenges stop the coach fights, right? Haven't the coaches like stopped arguing as
Kind
much?
of. That was always.
It's
a
more
thing in
just the players
baseball.
arguing with balls and strikes now,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and actually, where I thought you were going with this, Greg, is you were trying to say like, let there not be booth reviews, because that's actually my big thing with most of the reviews.
I think baseball
like-
is
I
one of
don't
those
think there are
sports where
booth
they,
reviews in baseball.
No, I think they can.
I think they do.
I think they can. Like, I think they'll actually.
You mean a team does not instigate? The booth says, "Hey, we're reviewing the play." Like
That's what I
know.
thought.
in the NFL, all scoring
But do
plays
you
are
have
reviewed.
do you have unlimited challenges?
One of you guys
no
could look
one,
this up.
one and done.
Yeah, I guess we could. Like, why
I'm fairly certain. I'm fairly certain it's one and done. You have if
So
you,
I'm looking
if you
at your
win, you get to
board.
keep it.
I'm looking at your board and I see Djokovic, and I actually thought tennis did it right for the longest time.
Transition, yeah. I was gonna make that same
Yeah,
one.
you got like 5 challenges in tennis, I think.
Masters is in Florida, and currently you can't come to the United States if you're not vaccinated.
So Djokovic, he got banned from the Australian Open last year because of this.
Yeah,
Oh, that's still a rule.
in America,
and then
yeah,
he came
not,
Even if you're coming on vacation.
not until May. The emergency order
Yeah.
doesn't expire until May.
He's a
What
good
the
story
heck?
though, because like this happened two
In
years
Australia,
ago.
in Australia,
then he
similar-
came back and won it this year. So
He's
it was
killing
like,
this guy.
He's number 1 in the world.
The important part is I think he have the record for most titles
Well, he could have if he would have.
if he's been allowed to compete. But they're like Muhammad Ali.
we don't really know that though, Greg. Would he have won?
So are we vaccinating the immigrants that come in from Mexico?
That the argument right now is that if DeSantis wants to challenge Trump, he should get a boat and have Djokovic fly into the Bahamas, take the boat out, pick him up,
Pick him up.
and drive him, bring him into Florida on the boat, like, doing a photo op on the back. Like, okay,
It is dumb.
I'm bringing him in. You're allowed to come in unvaxxed illegally. Legally, you have to be vaxxed. And
It's been 3 years, almost to the date, right? Was
More.
it like March 9th?
when it first
2020?
dropped,
It was
wow,
in March.
OG COVID 2020 of March, St.
So
Patrick's Day.
what do you think
yeah,
the
we're going
government?
on a 3-year
3
anniversary.
years almost on the date.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think the government would do if somebody did illegally sneak into the country that's a prominent figure?
Well, wait,
do you
well-
think they'd make a public display out of it?
This
It's
is
hard to say.
this
or would
could-
they ignore it?
This is our
Probably.
generation's Borat. Whatever kind of Russell Brand kind of character wants to just document trying to come across the border with a camera, people will watch it. That'll be great TV. And right now, I guess that's I'm saying that half tongue in cheek. DeSantis has formally petitioned, asked Joe Biden, let him play.
To let Djokovic in.
Yeah, like this doesn't make any sense. We could easily,
Yeah.
But-
I don't know. That's dumb.
we're still debating COVID origins.
The real issue with Djokovic is he is Serbian, I want to say. It's just like a little small country out there in the middle of
Yeah,
Europe.
no, this is we should.
And it's more of a foreign relations thing than like that's what really
have a
why
laptop.
Australia. That's really why Australia banned them from coming. Is like they just didn't agree with the country's policies.
France.
Like,
No, there
they're-
there was an issue where the current record holder Nadal is French, and they stopped him from coming in. And there was a big thing that this is just
Oh,
them blocking.
right.
I think it's Serbia.
Yeah, I think he's Serbian.
We got this wrong. Call my own foul. I don't have the correct answer.
Yeah.
The Washington Redskins quarterback.
But he's just like really proud to be Serbian. Wait, who the rest? What are you talking about?
We are talking about the first black quarterback to
Oh,
win
yeah,
the Super
yeah,
Bowl.
yeah.
We did
Yeah,
not get
yeah.
his name correctly,
No,
and I
we
still
didn't.
can't remember it. It's
Yeah.
not on my note sheet.
But yeah, I think it has more to do with him being Serbian than it has to be like the vax policy is just like an excuse, right? Like that's just the lever that we're pulling, to try to block him. So
But you said, but the real reason's because of his nationality.
yeah.
But what's the reason behind that?
Well, because the Serbians, they're just like they're like the bad kids on the block. Like they're just.
This sounds so racist.
Yeah,
It's not racist. I mean, it's a European thing more than anything.
Serbia is like they border Ukraine.
You're saying
they're
that-
Austria, Hungary,
No,
We're
all I'm
using-
saying is like they're just like this small breakaway country from like all the bigger ones around them. So
Poland.
there's a long history behind.
We really
Serbia.
need a map.
But what does that have to do
Really
with? So we're using our vax policy to keep him out
Well,
because
kind
the.
of, 'cause
Apparently, we're
But
anti-Serbs.
because of his nationality.
we don't like the Serbs.
I don't think so. Like,
Serbs.
I think
We're Serbs.
they're like quasi Nazis. I think So
What? Oh, I
I still stand by.
No,
my
I don't think
statement.
I don't think the Serbs are quasi Nazis.
Can I get a Wikipedia page?
You want check out? Yeah, check this out because Ukraine is
Penguins
quasi-Nazi. I don't think the Serbs. They might be Russian, but remember Nazis were anti-Russian.
I think they're rebels. I guess is all I'm
wondering.
trying to say.
I thought Djokovic was no. I knew he wasn't Australian. He's not French. The name does it hits that.
Djokovic lost to Medvedev Friday, March 3rd. Wait, when was that? Oh, this is a Dubai tennis champion. Sorry.
Just
Derailing.
spreading fake news. He's reading Wikipedia.
Well, I just saw like a stat. So, who am I looking up? No, Djokovic.
Even his name, Novak. Novax.
It is an issue though because he's the number one in the world. So it's just like let him play. Like that's just Okay, he's from Serbia.
Goddamn Serbs.
I think the population's like 5. So 83.3% Serbs, 90.9% Christian. So just like, okay, they got 6.7 million people living there. That's like almost half of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's 14 million people there. Yeah, it's half of Pennsylvania. Like that's Serbia. Like it's basically like Western Pennsylvania broke away from like the rest of the country and just decided to
We're
make our
talking
own.
old Prussian Empire.
Why?
Why is there such a stigma against Serbia?
Well, I'm just
in
saying
America?
they're just like they just like to say fuck you to the rest of us because they're just own little quadrant in Europe,
Okay.
So
Okay, we're done with this.
we got way off.
We got way too into European
I'll read
history.
more about this and I'll report back.
Let's
later.
stick on though the vax updates. The Wu flu. We now have multiple intelligence agencies admitting that the virus did not come from a wet market, was made in the Wuhan Viral Institute. You have never really pushed back against that. Your party has. But you personally don't have a lot of vested interest in defending.
I don't. I mean, because it's so hard to trust anything.
What is your...
So I don't.
Okay.
Like, I can't really take anything. So this is the Republican play, right? Like anything you tell me,
You're-
I don't trust
Exactly,
it.
and that's my concern when I'm playing these tapes. I know that anything I play from Jim Jordan or from Fox is going to be immediately dismissed by Democrats,
right.
just based off
Strike
sourcing.
it from the record.
Yes, that it was just extraordinarily
I mean,
frustrating.
we could talk about Fox News
No,
and like
okay.
in the federal in the lawsuit against them right now from the Dominion voting machines.
I'll transition to that
Defamation.
before I get.
Aren't
to
they also siding with the Democrats over the whole January 6th thing?
Whoa, hold on.
Like, aren't they, like, on the same team?
You guys just jumped
we
three
jumped
subjects
2 different
in
directions.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out.
You brought up Fox, Greg.
No,
Like,
yeah,
I
because
just,
we're trying to guide through this. What was I even talking about?
Do I have to put my headphones on?
I think you're. Yeah,
You were saying how
yeah,
if you
yeah.
play any clips from Fox,
yes,
they're gonna
it's
be
going
dismissed.
to be immediately dismissed. So before we go to clips, gain of function research. Alec,
Gain of function.
gain of function. The alleged, if God forbid, we don't put that little thing from that Wikipedia fact check us on the bottom of the video.
Serbia.
No. If the virus was created in the lab, that is because they are participating in gain of function resource.
Okay.
Gain of function on its just the vocabulary of it is to learn a quality that makes you either more deadly, like you're basically coaching a virus. You're trying to get a virus to gain a function
Yeah.
that makes it either more viral
Yeah.
or more deadly.
Sounds like you're playing with fire to me.
I would say don't do it.
Playing with fire. Like something could blow up. Oh wait, COVID.
The big debate now.
2 years of our lives wasted.
Now, for 2 years, Fauci has insisted there's no chance it came from a lab. No chance a lab that he funded.
Right.
Well,
Because the funding's the real.
we're pretty sure that it did, and now
Smoking gun
Republicans
here,
are
so.
in charge of the House, so they can subpoena
Now
him.
they can investigate.
Fauci's retired.
Do you know we're having an investigation on Biden's extraction from Afghanistan going on right now? Too?
Yes.
Just random sidebar.
We got no that was actually let the hearing season begin.
Oh,
was
okay.
where we were going to start this, but
okay.
we've just
Yeah.
we actually start at the bottom of the board.
We did. I know. I was looking at.
We've been
Baseball World
working our
Champs.
way down here, and now we're getting our way back.
Because that's
up to-
usually where the better stuff's at.
Yeah. There you go.
there's something I got to figure out the way. I write
Anyways,
this.
finish your point.
Fauci is not. He went on Neil Cavuto today about 3 hours ago, and Neil Cavuto. After I can play the whole spat where he basically lied. Let me go through the clips. Craig, let's make sure we get this volume here because I know we've butchered this a couple times.
We're supposed to
Go into the clips.
look forward. Then why did Dr. Fauci work?
This is Jim Jordan on the. We had our first day of the COVID origin hearings.
Okay.
It wasn't aired.
Wait, who's Jim Jordan again?
Jim Jordan is the Ohio House of Representative. He's currently the head of the subcommittee on COVID origins. He's probably
The
like
subcommittee of COVID. Or you just gotta love it.
you do. But no, this was happening.
We're
and-
gonna have a committee for this.
Okay, here we go. This is now Fauci. Neil Cavuto is playing this for Tony Fauci. Tony Fauci's going to answer to it.
Okay.
So hard for just one of those theories. 3 days after they say it came from a lab, they changed their position, and the only intervening event's a conference call with Dr. Fauci and Dr. Collins. Again, a call that Mr. Redfield was not allowed to be on, the head of CDC and on the coronavirus task force. And then 3 months later,
This guy's a lawyer.
Shazam, they get $9 million bucks from Dr. Fauci. Well, isn't that something?
What do you say to that?
What's his face?
I'm almost have to laugh at that, Neil. I mean, that's totally bizarre. First of all,
Bizarre.
I wasn't leaning totally strongly one way or the other. I've always kept an open mind.
No,
As
you have
the
not.
data evolved and evolutionary virologists began to look at the data, it looked much more likely that it was a natural occurrence from an
No, it was a
animal
lab
reservoir.
leak. You got it right
I
the
have
first
always
time,
kept
Tony.
a completely open mind that it could be one or the other. Quite frankly, the evidence weighs more likely towards one, namely a natural occurrence. But I would be
still won't give it up.
perfectly accepted if there were evidence that it
Can't
was a
figure it
lab
out.
I
leak.
would be
So
perfectly
was not one way or
accepted.
the
He's
other.
not even
The
speaking
other,
English. He sounds like Joe
absolutely
Biden. Okay.
preposterous.
Neil Cavuto
Well,
now.
sir,
By the way, I don't omit that. I mean, that was a Fox News interview, but I mean, it was him talking. You know, this wasn't like an opinion from Fox News. Like, kudos to Fox News in this case for actually getting him on to talk about and reacting to the hearing.
Yes,
you know,
interesting.
so-
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
And that's why I preface that with I'm not a Neil Cavuto fan because a lot of people say Fox is all Republican.
Mm-hmm.
Neil Cavuto is a card-carrying Democrat.
All is he the guy on the left there?
Yeah,
Neil
Neil
Cavuto. Like,
Cavuto. Neil Cavuto's been doing this for a while. He has a couple hours
like all
on Fox
he did
Business.
there was play a clip from a hearing in our
Yeah.
house.
And Fauci feels comfortable enough because he knows that he has
Yeah.
to talk. He convinced half of Fox. Fox mandated the vaccine to get in the building. That was all Cavuto and Fauci. I've been pulling my hair out over this guy's interviews with him for a while because Cavuto doesn't. He's gonna kind of push back. And the big question, and this is the question that I have, is I know we're not going to get Fauci arrested because he's a war criminal. Whatever. Can we stop gain of function testing? I cannot think of a good reason to do this. The whole cause, the reason all of this happened was because they were trying to, in their attempt to prevent a pandemic, they created one.
Right.
And then they managed to make a bunch of money off of a solution that turned out not to be a solution.
Well, and very controversial. Yes.
Not very controversial. If you get the vaccine, you're still going to get COVID. Still could die. Still can give it to grandma. Still can wipe out your whole family.
It was an arrangement to spend a lot of money.
Project Warp Speed. That sounds like it's going to work. That's a great name for a project. You think that idiot Donald Trump thought of that name? Like you think we're actually going to follow Project Warp Speed?
Speaking of Warp Speed, new episode of Star Trek Picard tonight.
Let-
Can't wait to get home from this and watch that.
Gain of function.
That there are those with this natural immunity push, or that those that say by making a one-size vaccine.
Cavuto's going to push back on.
Yeah.
At one point,
Let's get
Fauci
to the
said natural
Cavuto
immunity
thing,
here.
'cause we
leaders was
hear
talking
it.
to me about
Oh no.
Here,
Well, certain types of fire. Again, the problem, Neil, and you and I have discussed this on previous interviews that we had over the years, is that it depends on what your definition of gain of function is. Again, if you're looking at something where you deliberately make a pathogen more transmissible or more pathogenic, namely causing more severe disease,
Don't do that.
there's very few reasons to do that. But if you do, it should be done under very strict guideline conditions. So that's the thing that, if anything comes out of all of this back and forth arguing, is that we've got to do two things. We've got to make sure that laboratory work that involves potentially pandemic pathogens are done under the most importantly controlled conditions. And secondly, that we've got to make sure that we take a real good look at the animal-human interface, and we look at the situations where there could be that jumping from species from an animal to a human. Both of those things need to be controlled
at all, especially if it's even the most remote possibility. We don't know definitively. Not doing it at all, just it's not worth the risk. What do you say?
Well, take me out of the picture, Neil,
I can't
and
do
look
that.
at a whole array of virologists and scientists who do research that's absolutely critical for the health of the country. Some of that involves manipulating organisms. You want to call it gain of function. It really is not in many respects, but when it is, it needs to be very well regulated. If you shut off all gain of function research, did you get the flu shot this year, Neil?
No.
If you did, and you got it from an influenza vaccine, that was gain of function that made that influenza
not do that
vaccine.
either.
So that's what people don't understand.
I'm sorry, doctor. There were many on that committee who were saying just end it. It's not worth the risk, not worth the hassle, not worth even the remote possibility of something like we had. What do you say?
I'm sorry, Neil. You got cut off when he was talking. What was the question again? I'm sorry, Neil.
Some of the members of that
Old man
committee
Fauci
had
can't
very
work
low
the internet.
tolerance for even some of the
He's a
kind of
virologist,
specific
though.
function studies
We'll blame
that
Zoom
you
on that one.
advocated that they don't think
Who's
it
zooming
should
who?
ever be allowed anywhere.
That was probably
let alone
like their
in China.
code word.
You say?
Yeah,
Because they're obviously
you gotta
friends.
take me out of this because I'm a charged person when they, because
I'm a criminal.
The whole scientific community feels that you have to have some
I
degree
understand
of
what
being
he's
able to manipulate organisms. When you do
Why?
it, you've got to do it very carefully and under very, very well controlled.
Why do you have to-
We can pause it. We get the point. I mean,
Why,
like, that's-
as you, the card-carrying member of the virology community, why?
That's where the problem comes.
have that right here.
It's when you're looking at him doing this, he shouldn't be invested in the company.
No, that's what he said. Take me out of it.
That's the problem.
The problem is you're the chief
problem is
investor
that,
in this
like,
whole
yeah.
thing. As we open
You
with the
make
Jim
money on
Jordan
these
clip,
decisions.
is you gave a grant right after you told a whole bunch. That's what we started with. Just Jim Jordan pointing out that he had a conference call that he kept out Redford, the director of the CDC under Donald Trump, because he was promoting that it came from the Wu Lab.
right.
Fauci had this call. All of a sudden, everyone that heard it jumped on board. If you thought differently, you were a xenophobe.
Yeah.
And that just so happened that organization that changed their mind got $3 million from Tony Fauci. And he goes, "Oh no, that's crazy."
I think it was 9 million.
$9 million. It was a grant, and we had pre-approved it, so you couldn't have threatened to withhold
Let
its
me-
release.
let me-
Come on, man.
I mean,
A goddamn a criminal, a liar.
since I am a card-carrying member of the virology,
He did it at one point. He said,
virologist-
"As any card-carrying member of the virologist epidemiologist community."
he said another
What
word
a
in
pickup
there.
line at a bar.
He said another word in there. I'm not quite was real or not, but
I like what he said. I'll accept the science.
important.
Every member of science says this. The man is completely deranged. The
Well, I
fact,
think-
though,
hold
that
on,
he's
just-
still
I
coming
think
above Earth.
The problem.
He still goes on Fox.
Like Fauci is in an awkward position where he's like basically trying, and the money point is well taken. Like, right? I mean, if he has like a personal stake in,
But he doesn't admit that. Take him out of it. Take Fauci out of this.
Like,
Should
well,
we be doing gain of function?
I have
He
to
just
take-
happens to be the one making that
I do have to
decision.
take that part out of my argument because, like, if that is true and can be proven and fleshed out, then it's like, yeah, like there's an obvious conflict of interest problem here. Then, and that needs to be taken seriously, and that's one thing. But like, I sort of understand what he's saying, though. I mean, he is representing like all doctors across the world, basically. So he's saying like, I don't want to tell these people they can't do their research. They just really need to do a better job of making sure, like, a bat doesn't get it and flies out into the public and infects the rest of the fucking world. Like, that's what he's saying. Oh, strict guidelines. Like, really, like, it needs to be. And then I'm sure he would say, like, the money that I granted them was to make that environment safer. Like, if you really want to get on the PR game here.
That's what
then,
Obama banned gain-of-function researching in America. So we export it to China.
But
Neil Cavuto, we talked over that, but that was part of in the question.
But he's saying gain-of-function research is still important enough to like medical expansion and knowledge that we can't necessarily ban it. So
I set you up incorrectly as a not card-carrying virologist.
So you told me to defend him.
Yeah, I know. And as a virologist, that's what Fauci's taking me out of it. But as a virologist,
but it makes sense
I need to study viruses at all times.
But it makes
if
sense.
I can't, I have no job.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay, I guess you're just unemployed, Tony.
But it makes sense to me.
I would
like,
just be
like
all
a
right.
regular,
We don't need you.
Like a regular Joe. Like, okay, like these doctors.
Does that sound good?
Work, and like they need
biological
to do
manipulation.
tests.
Do you feel comfortable that your tax dollars are funding biological manipulation?
No, but
other words known as eugenics.
All I'm saying is, like, if these scientists say they need to do this to advance our medical understanding of viruses.
Okay, and we had to wear masks.
Then we're trying to trust them at some point.
But it's been proven. It's been proven in court that this man's a liar.
They fucked up.
So why is he still in charge of where money's going?
They let the bats out of the lab. They fucked up. So there's then we had the virus.
So can we stop with those labs? Why are they in Ukraine? Why are they in Africa? Why do we do these labs in countries with third world people that if there is a mistake, whoops, I can't tell whether it's some crazy ass wet market where they're buying dead animals off the streets. And you can just blame any disease that is unleashed on the population
part of it
on that.
It's probably more that they value those people less than they value you.
It kind of sounds like a new slavery, like a new, almost a new Nazi testing. Like that was one thing the Nazis did with the Jews. Before they gas chambered them, they'd run experiments on them. That's where this gain of function study comes from. Is Nazi zombies? They drugged Jews. And I mean, we
shouldn't be out there trying to create new.
What are we doing?
That makes no sense. Like, what is the
they're
incentive?
making the argument that is helping them understand how to fight against something like that.
I think as a culture, Alec, you might, if you don't want to go down the route too far, defending gain of function. I think the majority of Americans are going, I don't get why we're doing it either. And when you listen to Fauci's answer, that's not good. Like, that's not a good enough. Like, if I'm asking you, like,
we should just study real viruses.
I feel like that.
Not make new ones.
Well, no, the point's well taken, right? It's don't go looking for something that you don't really want to find.
You created the monster
right?
you were looking for.
Yes,
you became that monster. Like Fauci became the monster he was trying to stop.
And I mean, that's what they tell you not to play with fire because, like, quite literally, you could cause an explosion and kill yourself. That's sort of what happened here. Like, we really want to boil it down to
I went to that time. We need fire. We don't need to search gain of function research.
No, but
it's not necessary.
But when we were in high school and we would go fill water bottles full of gasoline and throw them in the fire and see what happened in Bob's backyard.
What happens because we thought we might just throw it and bathe the porta-john. We thought when we threw the Molotov that it might not just blow up.
Exactly. I don't know.
We weren't gain of function researching. We knew what the function was going to do when we did it.
Well,
and I'm saying Fauci wasn't just I just filled gasoline in a bottle and I put a lit rag on it and blew up. Whoa! I didn't know what was going to happen when you combine fire and gasoline. No. You knew. When you made a super virus, that it might break out, and you didn't have a cure because you were trying to create a disease we don't have a cure for.
But the point's in there because it's let's say we are let's say we're in the caveman era, and we really are playing with fire and trying to experiment. How does it
smoking?
Work?
You smoke weed. Whew, I like this stuff. What happens if you get poison ivy?
Well,
who was the first idiot that just light poison ivy on fire thinking, I don't know if it'll get me iron.
That's what I'm saying.
It just starts
you just die. I don't know. But
how many people smoke shit?
What if a caveman found a gallon of gasoline and was like, oh, I wonder what happens when you throw this on the fire.
Well, I don't know where a caveman would have got a gallon of gasoline.
You gotta work with me on
the
examples here. But it's kind of the same thing with these viruses. It's we don't know what's going to happen until we test them.
Eating poisonous mushrooms.
Again, as somebody trying to defend this argument in particular, I really do think it was an accident. I don't think anything was intentional here, but that,
Conspiracy Village.
It did
We're
happen.
going to be coming out with episodes soon.
Yeah.
Timing was awfully convenient.
By the way,
awfully convenient.
I use Conspiracy Village as like everyday talk now. Like I'll be in a meeting or something, and I'll be like, whoa, I don't want to be in Conspiracy Village right now. Fine. It is like it's kind of funny. I was like, yeah, listen to the podcast.
There's only one episode of Conspiracy Village.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank goodness.
I introduced too much. No, we're about to hit. I think I can do 10 in a row. I don't want. We'll tease that later.
10 in a row, like your whole day.
We'd do 10 half an hour. 10 half an hour for every episode, and we can release them however we decide.
You want to do it like all in one day?
Is there
That's
you
a
have
good.
it,
I'll do
we'd
it.
spend a Sunday.
I just gotta. Yeah, I just have to know about it.
go through
Sunday
it all.
after 1:30?
Exactly. Yeah, Sundays to get my brain. The church group prays for me. I got my church crowd. They pray for me.
You don't get PTO days? No paid days off?
I don't want Sunday off. I like Sunday is my only stable day. I know what to expect on Sunday. Abby's
Crazy, but whatever.
we're always dealing with crazy.
Yeah, we could do that a day if you need to knock a bunch out.
Yes. I have it planned out. I just need to draw my
Can
map of
I
Ukraine.
convince you guys to take a 10-minute recess of this podcast?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could do that.
I'm down for that.
Well, that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
Because we're at a good trend. We have, I have a good rundown
Yeah.
now. We can do some quick
'Cause
subjects.
I could pee. And we
Hot
could spell
take.
it.